welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on the new Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation. If you do want to see a review and a demo, please keep watching. This is what the packaging looks like. It says Juvia's Place on it, and it says I Am Magic foundation. And then on the side here, it tells you a little bit about the foundation, and then you do have the directions on this side. On the back, you just have the ingredients. So let's go ahead and open up this foundation. This foundation does retail for $20 on juviasplace.com, and I did also see it at Ulta too. I purchased mine on Juvia's Place. I did not pick up the concealer or the setting powder. I did have this foundation in my shopping cart, and I did not want it to get sold out. So I picked up the shade in Punta Cana 435. Here is what the squeezy tube looks like. You do get 1 fluid ounce of foundation or 30 millimeter. When you turn the squeezy tube around, you do have some of the ingredients here, and then the shade name is at the top. Let's go ahead and open this up. Pump some out on the back of my hand. Let's see why it's not coming out. So there is a safety seal here, which is really good, so nobody tampers with the foundation. Alrighty, so now let's squeeze 1 drop of this foundation. Oh my goodness, this foundation is so thick. Did you guys see that? It is so thick. Blends out really nicely. Don't have to use a lot of foundation with this. It is so thick. And hopefully the shade does match me because I only purchased 1 shade. I already moisturized my face with a Drunk Elephant Polypeptide Cream, but I have not yet primed. I was kind of debating on which primer I should use. Should I use my Smashbox Photo Finish or should I use my Too Faced Hangover? I haven't really tried out this foundation, so I think since this is going to be a matte foundation, I do want to use a hydrating primer. So we're going to go in with the Too Faced Hangover Primer. I'm just going to take a little bit on my fingertips and just prime my skin really quickly. I know that this foundation claims to be full coverage. We're gonna see if it is. I am gonna be testing out this foundation with a couple of my different primers that I do have. I know I'm using one hand because the other hand I have my foundation on and I don't want it to go everywhere. Just for additional hydration, I am gonna be using the Smashbox So Chill Coconut Primer Water. Just gonna let that dry down a bit. For some reason, I feel like this foundation is super matte. It's gonna dry me out. I'm very oily. I definitely wanna have a good base set down before I apply any of this foundation. And now let's see if this foundation does match me. I'm gonna take a little bit on my fingertip. This is a good shade, you guys. Wow, do you guys see that? A perfect match. I bought this online. I'm normally not a very good online shade match. Wow, that's all I could say is wow. I do want to just take a little bit more and just see how it covers up my redness. What? It literally covered it up in less than a second. I am in shock. How can $20 for this foundation? How is this even possible? This shade in 435 in Punta Cana is a little bit too golden for me. I'm looking at it up close in the mirror. We're gonna make this work. If anything, we have 1 whole week to test out this foundation. Also sold in Ulta. I feel like I'm talking too much and this foundation is drying. It needs to be blended out all over my face. I'm just gonna be taking my damp beauty blender. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit from the back of my hand on my damp beauty blender. We're just gonna blend out this side. You don't really need a lot of this foundation. I should have just used my fingertips while blending out this foundation. Using this damp beauty blender, it kind of took away some of the coverage. I'm just going to take a little bit more of that foundation from the back of my hand and just blend it out. If anything, we can blend it out with my fingertips instead of using a damp beauty blender. But I do want to see how my tools do perform. So far, I'm not liking the coverage using the damp beauty blender. You want to see how this foundation does apply using a brush. 1 more pump of this foundation. This foundation is so thick. Look at that. I just want to show you guys how thick this foundation is. I'm just going to be dotting this foundation on this side of my face. It was literally 1 dot of the foundation. I still have a ton of foundation on the back of my hand. We're just gonna blend out this foundation using my brush. I definitely like how this foundation blends out with the brush. It gives you more coverage. This foundation is looking a little bit too golden. Here's what the foundation looks like with a brush. When I did use the brush, it looks a little bit heavy on my skin, whereas the damp beauty blender, it looks like there isn't much coverage. Which side do you guys like? the brush side or the Beauty Blender side? I am going to be building up the foundation on the Beauty Blender side. I'm just going to be taking my damp sponge and just building up the coverage. Ooh, you guys, look, this foundation oxidizes. I'm just going to do another little pump on this side. Here we have a fresh pump of what the foundation looks like, and here it is dried down. This foundation does oxidize. I definitely have to purchase this in a lighter shade. I'm just going to build up the foundation using my damp Beauty Blender. Just going to drag the foundation down my neck. Here's what the foundation is currently looking like on the damp Beauty Blender side. Then here's the brush side again. So far I am loving the coverage of this foundation, but I do feel like this shade is too dark for my skin complexion. Like, it's too dark, but we're gonna have to make it work since this is the only shade that I did purchase. I will be going inside Ulta and picking up the correct shade. I will be setting this foundation with some setting powder. I'm gonna be using my Too Faced Peach Perfect Setting Powder. I just have a little bit on the cap. We're just gonna set underneath the eyes. Here's a final look at what the foundation does look like. I really do love how I didn't have to use a lot of product to apply the foundation. I love the brush side. I also do love the Beauty Blender side. I do want to read a little bit about this foundation. It does say Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation offers a smooth application with a natural and soft matte finish to give a flawless coverage. A great formula to even out the complexion, refine skin texture, and erase blemishes, maintaining the initial finish through the day. Suitable for all skin types, including sensitive and oily. I definitely agree with that statement. I will be wearing this foundation throughout my entire day. I will check back in with you guys at the end of the night, and I will see you guys then. Hey guys, so it is the end of the night of me testing out the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation. Here's a closer look on how the foundation did perform. I know that my hair is an absolute mess, so I'm just gonna remove this little braid. I literally just grabbed any bandana that I found, and I'm just gonna put my hair back. My thoughts on this foundation is that I really do like how it did wear throughout my day. I am a bit greasy. I know the foundation is a bit too dark for me. Overall, the formula, I did really like it. I didn't have to use a lot of foundation. It was a thick formula. I really do like how both tools did perform, the brush side and the damp Beauty Blender side. I'm just gonna be taking a tissue right here and just blotting. We do have a lot of foundation coming off. You are gonna be blotting throughout your day. Definitely expect the foundation to come off just a tad bit. Overall, you guys, I really did like how this foundation did perform. I will be wearing this foundation for an entire week, and I will let you guys know my final thoughts at the end of the week. So I will see you guys then. Hey guys, so it is day 3 of me testing out the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation. I did go to Ulta and I did purchase a different shade. I purchased the shade in Savannah 440. One pump on the back of my hand. Here's what the shade in Savannah 440 looks like. It looks a little bit too light for me. Hopefully it does oxidize throughout my day and it does wear well. I'm just going to be applying some. It does look a little bit too light for me. They did not have an in-between shade. I'm just going to be using my damp Beauty Blender, having some on my Beauty Blender, and we're just going to be blending out this foundation. So far, you guys, I really do like how the foundation did wear. I just did not like the color. You guys know the shade did not match me. I am loving how this foundation blends out. You don't have to use a lot of foundation, which I do really love. And I also really do like the squeezy tube packaging. Those are some pros so far. I don't have any cons, which is exciting. That never happens. I normally have like a pro and a con, but I've been loving this foundation. I mean, I don't mind wearing a darker shade. If I can't find something in my shade and I love the formula, I would still rock the foundation and make it work. I just used up all that foundation on the back of my hand. I just rubbed it off onto my Beauty Blender. I did already moisturize. I went in with my Drunk Elephant Polypeptide Cream. For primer, I do currently have on this primer water. It's the So Chill Coconut Primer Water. I had really thought that I lost this primer water, but the other day I found it and I thought I needed to use it. I still have a good bit in there. I'm just going to be blending out this foundation. Here's what what the shade in Savannah 440 looks like. It really does look like my skin complexion. I have nothing on this side of my face. I could drag this foundation all the way down to my neck. That way we can make it match a little bit more. I'm going to be taking another big drop of this foundation. That's all you really need, you guys. What I like to do is just take my damp beauty blender, go right into the foundation, start blending. That way for me, I do end up getting full coverage, as you guys can see. I use way too much on this side. We're going to blend it out. I still have a ton of foundation on the back of my hand. Just going to be dragging the foundation down. I just want to show you guys the back of my hand. So this is the pump that we just squeezed out, and you can see how it did dry down a bit darker. I definitely think that this shade in Savannah is going to be my perfect shade. I'm super excited. I have been setting this foundation with setting powder. That way it can last throughout my entire day. I'm going to be using some bronzer and some blush so you guys can see how makeup does sit on top of this foundation. I'm going to be setting my face with the Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. Setting my under eyes first because that tends to crease. And then I'm going to be using this setting powder all over. I'm just going to be bronzing up my skin just a tad bit. I have a little bit on my brush here. How nicely the bronzer sits on top of this foundation. I'm just going to be taking a little bit of blush. I'm going to be adding some mascara and I'll be right back. The lipstick shade that I currently have on is by ColourPop. It's in the shade CA Love. It's their Velvet Blur lipstick. I'll check back in with you guys at the end of the night to see how this foundation does perform, and I will see you guys then. Hey guys, so the audio of the file did not record, so I'm just doing a voiceover, just letting you guys know how the foundation wore throughout the night. It wore really nice throughout my entire workday. I don't look overly oily or dewy. I will check back in with you guys at the end of the week to let you guys know my final thoughts on this foundation. Hey guys, so it is the end of the week of me testing out the Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation. I am currently wearing the foundation. I have it in the shade Savannah 440. I really do love the formula of this foundation, and I love this shade in Savannah 440. I love how it wore throughout my work day. It wasn't cakey, it wasn't overly oily, and I really do love the packaging as well. It is very travel friendly. It's in a squeezy tube. It only retails for $20, which is an affordable price in my opinion. You don't have to use a lot of the foundation. I definitely think that this foundation is going to last you a really long time. I love using my damp beauty blender to blend out this foundation. It really makes the foundation look natural. If you guys are wondering what eyeshadow palette I am using, it is by Essence. This is the Ole Rio eyeshadow palette. I did a full review on it. If you guys have not seen it yet, I will link it right over here in the cards. I would highly recommend you guys check out this foundation, and if you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video.